Our next video is from Sandy Feldman. Sandy is a web designer. She designs and codes accessible and responsive sites and custom WordPress themes, and is also a freelancer for CNIB, Frontier Digital Accessibility and Inclusive Media and Design, helping developers understand and fix accessibility problems. Today, Sandy will be talking about how to choose a plugin for accessibility. I don't believe that Sandy is here, but feel free to engage with other attendees in the ideas section of the chat, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes with another video.
My name is Sandy Feldman, and I'm going to talk about picking plugins for accessibility and 5 things that you can do to keep your site accessible, because plugins will break sites. So first thing is to test your theme and before you install the plugin, and pick your plugin carefully, test the theme again, and then I'm going to talk a bit about accessibility plugins and a stopgap solution you can use. So check your theme. Make sure that everything can be accessed with the keyboard and use automated accessibility testing tools. Keyboard access. First thing is you navigate through the site using the tab key. And the first thing you should come across is a skip to content link or a skip navigation. It's really important because it's going to let your keyboard users not have to tab through the entire navigation. Make sure that each interactive element gets focus, and that focus is always visible, and that it's in a logical order, which is usually left to right, top to bottom. And you can activate any interactive elements using your space bar, your enter key, or your arrow key. Now, testing tools, there's a lot of them, a lot of different ones. And none of them is perfect. They all miss things. And I'm going to talk about 4 tools and show the differences between what they catch and what they miss. So first one is Wave, then Siteimprove, and then Lighthouse and Axe. So Wave is a browser extension that you can add. It comes from wave.webaim.org. You can go there as a page. Siteimprove. So Siteimprove in this situation caught a lot more errors. Wave caught 88 contrast errors and 1 error and about 25 concerns to check out. Siteimprove caught duplicate element IDs, page regions without accessible names, headings are not structured, there's orphan content, and it found the contrast errors as well as font size errors. Lighthouse says the site is 97% accessible, but it did catch the problems with contrast and headings. Axe came up with 184 problematic elements, and it goes into detail in the app. So once you've tested the site and you see what kind of shape it's in, pick your plugin. Every plugin has got information associated with it, how many installs there are, reviews, when it was last updated, and whether or not it's compatible with your version of WordPress. So I have 2 plugins on the screen, the information about them. One has 900 plus 4.5-star reviews. The other was last updated 4 days ago. 5 million plus active installations, and it's compatible with my version of WordPress. The other one has 20 active installation, 1 5-star review. We can guess who wrote that. Last updated 3 years ago, and untested with the version of WordPress. So use that information to pick which plugin. They both do the same thing. And install that plugin and activate it, and then check the theme again. Make sure that everything can be accessed with the keyboard, and use your automated tools to check out the site. You do this for every plugin you install right after it's installed, because if you do this test at the end of the project, after you've got 10 plugins in there and there's something the matter, it can be a lot of work to sort out what plugin introduced the errors. So now I'm going to talk about a particular kind of plugin, and that's an accessibility overlay. And overlays are, I'm going to read here from the overlayfactsheet.com. Overlays are a broad term for technologies that aim to improve the accessibility of a website. They apply third-party source code, typically JavaScript, to make improvements to front-end code of the website. And the goal is to make the site accessible without needing to do anything else. And there'd be a lot of people who, these days are being told the site needs to be accessible. There's legislation, maybe there's a lawsuit pending. Can you do it in the next half hour? And a plugin like that's going to look so tempting. Oh my gosh, I just install it and activate it, and boom, the site's accessible. Accessibility overlays don't work. They look like they're working. They look like they're working because they add, if you can use a mouse, they add some things that can be helpful for people. But if you use assistive technology, overlays get in there and they mess up that technology, so that people who have specific settings that allow them to access the web and are not able to otherwise, the overlays interfere with that. So this is to the point where there's software called Accessibyby that you can download at accessibyby.org that will turn off overlays to make the site accessible. All right. And then you can find out more about overlays at overlayfactsheet.com. So I'm quoting here from Lainey Feingold, who's an American lawyer who specializes in accessibility. And she says, and if you need another reason to say no, these tools don't even protect against lawsuits. So it's not a valuable solution on any level. There is a stopgap solution you can use if you're using WordPress. And that is a plugin by Joe Dolson, and it's called WP-accessibility. And I'm quoting Joe here. The plugin is intended to help with deficiencies commonly found in themes and to solve some issues in WordPress core. So most of the plugins featured can be turned off, so you just use what you really need. For example, most themes will have that skip navigation, that skip to content link. The plugin adds one, but if you've got one in the theme you're using, you don't need it. So he says, I don't really want people to use this forever. It's a stopgap. It lets you address urgent concerns in a way that doesn't make things worse, and gives you that little bit of breathing space to find an accessible theme and implement it in a way that keeps it accessible. So again, for accessibility and plugins, that relationship, you test your theme, you pick your plugin carefully using the reviews and the number of installs and when it was updated last and how many users are using it. Install it, activate it, test the site again, see if it made trouble or not. And accessibility overlays do not work. And the WP accessibility plugin is a stopgap solution. My name is Sandy Feldman, and you can find out more at sandyfeldman.com or a11yready.com. Thank you very much.